Here's Joe from Georgia. Trucking in the United States is getting ready to suffer. And truckers who depend on those shipments for their jobs are going to be unemployed, especially if you're operating on the west coast of America, because all those shipments that go to China that aren't going to happen because of the tariffs, those shippings go to California ports. Well, in May of 2020, during COVID, there was 50 blank sailings in California going to China. That means canceled sailings where full ships would go to China. Now, 50 in 2020 in COVID. This past month, in the beginning of April, there's been 80 already. And someone said it. This is going to make COVID look like good times.
Another worse week for the trucking industry. I'm actually sitting in Seattle, Washington right now without a load. I dropped my load 8 o'clock in the morning and it's already 1 o'clock that I'm sitting here waiting for the load. A lot of people been asking me, does it gonna get fixed? Is it gonna get better? I have no fucking clue what is gonna happen because day by day it's getting worse and worse. I have no clue. I haven't seen trucking industry like this in the past 10 years. This is the worst year for the trucking industry. Worst year. And when I came to a truck stop, I reserved a shower. There were 23 people in front of me in the line. 23 people. It's been 4 hours I'm waiting for the shower. And they still 3 people ahead of me. Still. So you can imagine that how many people are sitting at this truck stop without a load. All the truck drivers, we have nothing else to do besides taking shower all day. Pray for everybody. Stay safe on the road.
All right, so this is for my drivers, right? I work LTL, right? So I pretty much pick up from a terminal and drop it off at another terminal. That's pretty much my job, right? Now, people that do that type of work, where you're bouncing from one terminal to another terminal, are your trailers super light? Has it kicked in yet? Are you guys noticing yet? Right? I've been working here for about a year and some change, and we never used to get dispatched with a trailer under 28,000 pounds. This week alone, I have not gotten a trailer over, we haven't been dispatched with a trailer over 22,000 pounds. I mean, am I tripping or what? Is it just me or what's going on?
So, yesterday, what's up, TikTok? What's up, peeps? Yesterday, I had a load going to Cleveland, Ohio, going to San Antonio, Texas. I got halfway here and they canceled the shit. So there I sat. This is 2 days without a load. I understand not hauling cheap freight, but don't make a driver sit for 2 damn days without nothing and no pay or nothing. So, I'm about ready to say fuck it, rent me a car and load my shit and just go home. I'm not here not to make no money. You think I'm out here on this road because I don't want to be around my family? Or fuck? Get it together, people. I can go home and make no money. Fuck it. Later, TikTok. Later, peeps.
Trucking has completely went flat bottom, man. I can honestly tell you these past 3 weeks, this is including the 3rd week that I'm in right now, you get a few runs here and there. I'm in Chicago, right? And it's getting bad. You know, I don't know, what do you tell your drivers, right? You just give them the whole concept of be patient. Obviously, watching the news, I'm not only a truck driver, I own trucks. I got drivers, man, you know? I don't know what else to say or do. Obviously, Trump is doing what he needs to do, right? On paper, it looks good. It looks right. But we're going to have to try to weather the tide, you know what I'm saying? But, man, I mean, it's getting bad, right? And I know a lot of people in other businesses that are complaining too, right? Everybody's watching the news, waiting for this whole situation to die down with this whole tariff thing back and forth. And I don't see no end in sight. I know some of my guys that are owner-operators, a lot of them gave up not having a plan in place after they quit. and they just saying, hey, I'm gonna wing it. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But man, me personally, my advice, anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a truck driver now, whatever you're doing for a living and you don't want to do that no more, find you another source of income before you quit. Never quit until you have another option, right? You're going to quit and just sit there and wait. What are you going to do? My advice, man, do not quit something until you have something in line, ready to go.
What are the consequences of the fact that there's no ships coming in to the biggest port on the West Coast? The port in LA is reporting that there are no ships with shipping containers. The port is basically empty. And the same thing has happened in Seattle. And this happened pretty quickly, right? The tariffs came in and people are not ordering anything, and people who have ordered things have canceled their orders. And the implications for this are mainly for the American economy right now. China has lots of flexibility to be able to handle this. They can give grants to companies and things like that because they are running their economy very differently, and they've also don't have the same sort of debt load that the Americans are facing. But the implications for this are just catastrophic for the U.S. I mean, the first one that we can see right away is for truckers. There are reports that truckers, the level of demand right now is the same as for Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, which is the lowest of the year, and that is every day. So you're going to see truckers laid off, you're going to see port workers laid off, and the cascading effect obviously through that local economy will happen fairly quickly because those people are not going to have the money to be able to spend, and it's going to affect the real estate in those places as well. But think about the stores and the companies that need components to manufacture things. There's all sorts of things that are manufactured in the U.S. using components that come from overseas. And then people who need tools. Most of the tools are manufactured in the States, in China. You need those tools. You need them to be relatively inexpensive so you can run your business. And so the cascading effect of this will be, of course, a decline in the economy. And you probably see some readjustment in certain prices because there'll be very little competition for it. So, there's all of these cancellations of meat orders going to China, which is going to affect the price of beef and pork, and all of those things are going to drop for Americans. And that's wonderful for Americans, except it's going to put a lot of farmers out of business because they're already selling at very low margins to start with. So you'll see some economic decline, which will in some sectors lead to deflationary pressures, but for the most part, you're just going to see economy slipping into failure mode, and the worst recession ever, because it's not just some sort of over exuberance or something like that in some sector or another. It's actually just pulling the fundamentals out of the economy and throwing it into collapse. And this is just the start. I made a TikTok a few weeks ago saying, get prepared. In a couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing shortages of things on store shelves. And when there's no ships coming from China, you're going to see shortages of things on store shelves happening really quickly now, because they rely on very tight schedules for things. It's really, computers are making the orders. When something is sold in a store, an order goes to the head office and it automatically goes to the supplier in China. And when they cut that off a few weeks back, when the tariffs were first imposed, that was the end of those replacement orders coming in for things that are on the store shelves. So things that you need that are like hard goods manufactured in China, and that's most of what you need. If you're in the US, you should be going and buying it now. Of course, in Canada, this isn't affecting us at all because we're not putting any weird tariffs on things coming from China. But when you see a harbor that has no ships and a busy port like LA and Seattle with nothing on the dock, I can tell you that's worse than anything we experienced in the pandemic, and it's completely self-inflicted.
If you think trucking is bad now, it's going to get a lot worse. I've been following the trucking data for quite some time and different market cycles, and there's just one thing that people are just not talking about enough. And look, every market, has boom cycles and recessions and things like that, and recoveries, and trucking is going to have its recovery as well. But the thing that people are just not really talking about is capitulation. If you look at every market crash out there, it starts going on a downtrend, on a downtrend, on a downtrend. It has some recoveries here and there, some bear traps, and then all of a sudden you have capitulation, that big sudden downturn where you think the world is going to end and things are never going to be the same again. Then after that, you have consolidation, where things kind of like cool down and then you eventually recover. That is what I've been waiting to happen when it comes to truck driving. Even before Trump got elected, I understood this. And a lot of people would talk about, hey, trucking is getting a little bit better. The demand is balancing out versus the amount of trucks out there. And so many trucks have gone out of business. When I looked at the chart, I understood that there was a lot more pain to go. I think that we're getting near to that pain. And I think that the tariffs is going to be the catalyst that we need for us to see that capitulation in the market. Once we do see that sudden downturn and in that intense fear that's going to be all over the country, only then, I believe, is going to be a good time for us to say, okay, this is the bottom over here. Things are eventually going to get better from this point, but it is going to get a lot worse than it is right now. And this means that if you have any payments, if you're barely making it now, you're not going to make it later on. If you have any overhead at all, you most likely won't make it. You see, because I understood this, I put myself in a position where no matter what happens in the market, there's no possibility of me failing. This is why I think that truck driving is kind of a superpower if you use it correctly. Now, I make more sacrifices than the other truck driver, and I'm willing to do things that other people are just simply not. And that's why I sold everything I had. I live in my truck, and no matter what is happening in the market, I'm gonna survive. Now, I don't expect everyone to do this in order to survive, but you do have to understand that if you do have a high truck payment, if you're not on the road as much as you can, if you're not saving everything that you can, if you're not going as hard as you can, you're probably not gonna make it. And that's just the truth. Unless you have very specialized freight, unless you have contracts with people, or you are in a company that is most likely not going to go out of business. If you are an owner operator and you're just one more guy out there that's making his payments, you're most likely not going to make it. The fact of the matter is that after COVID, there were too many trucks out there on the road, and we are starting to see people get out of the business. And while sure, I'm happy that people are getting out of the business, I'm not happy that people are losing their trucks and their investments. I would much rather see these mega carriers lay off people, and then it's still something that sucks, but I would much rather see that than somebody lose all of their life and their dreams and everything that they put into a business just for factors that are incredibly out of our control. But this is the reality, so get ready.